Hey everyone, before we get started learning how to write the Harvard essays, we wanted to let you know that with your free CollegeVine account, you can get fast feedback on your college essay with our peer essay review. You'll receive detailed inline edits and actionable steps to improve your essay. If you want to become a better writer, you can also review another student's essay. Visit the link in the description below to sign up and review or submit an essay today.
Okay, number 5. How do you hope to use your college education? This question does not have the rest of the answer that's implied. It really should read, how do you hope to use your college education to make a positive difference in the world? Anyway, that's how I generally interpret it. Large and frequently discussed missions like reversing climate change or curing cancer, bit overdone, rather ambitious. You're probably not going to reverse climate change on your own. I mean, maybe Elon Musk is going to save us all, but it's unlikely any one person is going to do it. Try to narrow down your goals a little bit. Don't just discuss the goals in a vacuum. Make sure you're drawing on your current knowledge and experiences and knowledge and experiences you're going to gain and have in college. Make sure it's an issue that you do genuinely care about, that you do hope to help solve. Here's an example. Let's say you're deeply committed to sustainability and environmental advocacy. Maybe your dream is to solve the world's plastic problem. It's a big goal, so you're trying to make some more attainable plans for yourself. You're working on an initiative that will help educate people on the dangers associated with plastic accumulation, and you're going to seek to ban certain single-use non-biodegradable plastics locally. You're going to propose a plastic straw ban when you get to Harvard, and as a student there, you're going to hope to expand your project's reach while you're a student there and thereafter. Maybe get local or ordinances or state ordinances to approve your ban at larger governmental levels. Okay, list of books you've read during the past 12 months. This one is more effective if you have in fact read books. If you haven't read books, don't answer this prompt. All books are on the table. Books you read for fun, books you read for class, textbooks. I mean, you can write about any books you want. Unlike prompt 2, where you may remember, it's not really prompt 2, is it? It's prompt 1. Unlike prompt 1, your prompt should not be a simple list. In this case, you do want to give a little tag about each book, explain why it was important or special to you, or give it a review, say something about it. Do not just brag about all the difficult and important books you read. Make sure that you actually give us a balanced view of what you read and, dive deep into your intellectual interests and passions. Add in some personality. Give us some funny reviews and things. We want to know what you thought and why these books were important or not important to you. It's okay to have some negative reviews. Just don't only have negative reviews. Make sure you got some balance in there. Here are an example of 2 books from a larger essay with many different books written. First is Big Girl Small by Rachel Dwoskin. The applicant writes, I love to judge books by their covers. This one looked like the book equivalent of a chick flick, but turned out to be dark, lousy fiction. And also, The Sun Also Rises. Should really have a quote. Oh, no, it does have a quote. The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway. I wish my writing was as precise and powerful as his. This novel sparked my interest in the expatriates of the lost generation and influenced several of my other book choices on this list. What's great about this? It's succinct, it's clear, it says interesting things about each book. It talks a little bit about the author. It's funny. I like judging books by its cover, and this one was like a chick flick. It's kind of fun and casual. Discussing what the applicant learned about the expats, the lost gen, like Fitzgerald and Hemingway and all these people. Gertrude Stein is a nice tag. It's good that it connects with other books on the list. In general, good way to go about doing this. Make sure you have a big enough list and it's balanced. All right, this is the Harvard College Honor Code essay prompt, which I joked about earlier. Of course, you want to avoid preaching about the importance of honesty and integrity. Do not start out your essay being like, honesty and integrity are 2 of the most important values that bind society together. That would not be good. We're going to, first of all, it's super preachy, but second of all, it's just like not necessary because like anybody reading this essay is already starting from the vantage point that like, yes, honesty and integrity are important. You don't have to rehash that. You can get right into your personal story. It is okay to discuss the time you acted in a dishonest and reprehensible way, as long as you've learned from your mistakes. But of course, don't take it too far. You don't want to write about illegal or troubling behavior in which you've engaged. You don't want admissions officers to say, whoa, this kid is a problem. The strongest responses do involve situations in which moral lines are blurred, profound thought required to make an informed ethical decision. Here's an example that I kind of created for you. I sort of lifted it from a College Mind blog on Harvard Essays blog post. Do check out our blog posts. They're amazing about everything. Talk about how to answer essays, apply to schools, etc. The blog is massive. This is sort of taken and adapted from a Harvard Essays blog post on College Mind. Let's say you have a leadership position in Key Club. You're helping tutor elementary school students in a predominantly minority and or low income area. While you're at work, you hear a close friend of yours who also volunteers, or maybe just anywhere, you hear a close friend of yours who also volunteers with Key Club, making offensive statements about the students whom you tutor. You wonder if you should ignore the situation because you're afraid of losing your friend, also potentially losing a Key Club member, but you decide it's best to confront your friend and try to help educate them. You plan to end the friendship and inform the other Key Club leaders of the problem should your friend ignore you and continue to make offensive statements, but maybe you do commit to doing your absolute best to help educate your fellow student, help them figure out why talking about your tutees or the people you tutor this way is offensive and inappropriate. All right. Wow, the chat is silent, people. Are you all still here? I haven't heard from you in so long. I feed off the chat. You know, I want your energy. Let's do like a thing. Let's promote an event. This one is the guide to why the school essays. So you haven't had enough of talking about how to write supplemental essays? Well, this is the presentation for you. Who's going to do it? Hale, our great live streamer Hale Yeager is going to get on there and discuss how exactly to write the why this school essay for a variety of schools. This is, of course, a supplemental essay prompt that comes up all the time. Yeah, it'll be a good session. Check it out. Of course, it is tomorrow at 6 p.m. Got a busy day tomorrow, 5, 6, and 7 p.m. live stream sessions. All right, let's keep going here. We're getting into the final stretches of these questions. Number 8, the mission of Harvard College is to educate our students to be citizens and citizen leaders for society. What would you do to contribute to the lives of your classmates in advancing this mission? Okay, so this one is super similar to prompt 5, which asked, how do you hope to use your college education to create positive change in the world? But this one focuses on your classmates' lives. Again, as with prompt 5, you want to focus on niche issues that aren't frequently discussed if possible. My example is really the same plastic straw example that I used for prompt 5. This time the focus is going to be on introducing some of your classmates to your environmental advocacy and ultimately building a coalition with your peers to help regulate and decrease the use of single-use non-biodegradable plastics in your college community. And also, to cultivate a network of environmental advocates who will help grow and expand your cause. All right. Wow, this thing does, oh, there we go. Number 9, each year, a substantial number of students admitted to Harvard defer their admission for 1 year or take time off during college. If you decided in the future to choose either option, what would you like to do? All right, so if you are, if you are not planning to take time off, don't write this essay. If you might be interested in taking time off or deferring, then you can write this essay. The topic you discuss should highlight a genuine passion and or skill of yours, ideally, and definitely avoid topics that might not sound like worthwhile adventures. Like I've always wanted to go to France, so I'm going to take time off to go. Or I really want to get good at law, so I'm going to take a semester off to play a lot of law. Right, like that. That's probably not going to do it. The admissions officer is going to be like, maybe you should just play law after college. What are some examples? Okay, maybe just going to France for the sake of going to France isn't great, but what if you're going to France specifically to spend time with an older and or unwell relative? That would, of course, be a very important and personal thing. All right, maybe just playing LOL on the couch is not a great reason to take time off of school, but maybe designing and pitching your own video game to a video game company, that would be a really interesting thing to spend time off doing. Or, if you want to get so good at law, or you think you could, that you're going to do a year as a professional esports player, and you're going to do big competitions and use the money you make to eventually help you pay for your tuition in college, and you're going to get sponsorships, blah, 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 tour the country doing these tournaments or competitions. I mean, that also could be cool. I mean, could be a reason to play a lot of video games and use that as a reason to take time off from school, if that's really what you want to write about. Similarly, trying to qualify for the Olympics or other major athletic or competition-based activities, maybe writing and producing a play, screenplay, opera, or a novel, creating a company, designing an app. These would all be fantastic things to talk about for this essay prompt. Okay, prompt 10. Harvard has long recognized the importance of student body diversity of all kinds. We welcome you to write about distinctive aspects of your background, personal development, or the intellectual interests you might bring to your Harvard classmates. This is a tricky essay to write. Any kind of community diversity essay is often difficult for a majority of students, and it's becoming more difficult because as Harvard and schools like it become more diverse, it's increasingly difficult to have a truly unique background unless you make it very specific. So, of course, make your discussion deeply personal. Make sure it doesn't apply to everyone else who grew up with similar circumstances or under similar circumstances. And finally, you don't necessarily need to take diversity to mean racial, ethnic, or religious diversity. There are many other kinds of diversity as well. So some examples, and these are both different takes on the diversity issue. This first one, discussing growing up in a low-income household and or seeking to become a first-generation college student. Of course, there are many students who grow up in these circumstances who are applying to top schools, and you do still have to make it specific to you. That said, it's an example of diversity that isn't just racial, ethnic, religious. In this case, we're talking about socioeconomic diversity. Second example, describing the unique way in which you approach problem solving and discussing how you have worked together with people who have different strategies to pull off successful group projects. Very different kind of diversity. We're kind of thinking of like intellectual processing or strategy diversity. It's fine. Any way you want to interpret diversity is fine. Of course, writing about religious, ethnic, racial diversity, also fine. Just make sure that it is specific to your personal circumstances. Okay, and finally, if none of these options appeal to you, you have the option to write on a topic of your choice. If you wanted to create a creative essay, possibly using an innovative or unconventional style, this is your chance to do that. Yes, you can put anything you want here. However, try to avoid just picking an essay you've written that doesn't correspond to any of the numbered topics and just copy pasting it here. Okay, that won't necessarily be a disaster. However, if you do that, it's kind of clear a lot of the time to the admissions officers that you actually just wrote an essay for another school and you didn't have time to craft a Harvard specific essay, so you just copy pasted a pre-existing essay. Now, I could have done that, for instance, with that essay of which I excerpted for you, my essay about Shostakovich and my newfound understanding of art's communicative power through doing an academic research paper on him. Of course, I could have just put my Princeton essay in here. I chose to adapt that essay, weave in the AP World History thesis paper I wrote in order to make it respond directly to one of the numbered prompts. That is what I would try to do. Of course, if you're like totally out of time, but really dead set on applying to Harvard, you should just put an essay here. But ideally, you should answer one of the numbered prompts and use this option if you're going to go a more creative or innovative route. Talking about the creative routes, poorly executed unconventional essays, they may significantly detract from your application strength. However, really well executed ones are going to help immensely. When we talk about unconventional essays, we're usually talking about a high risk, high potential reward circumstance. Bad ones, bad, good ones, good. What are some examples? You could do an essay about something extremely specific, why you think 80s punk rock is the most compelling form of music of the last century, if you're really particularly passionate about 80s punk rock. I am not, but maybe you are. And this could be your essay. It just should be, like New York Times essay equality or something. Okay, also somewhat more general or standard unconventional approaches could be memoirs in the form of comedy special, a screenplay, a poem, etc.